Whether you are visualizing energy flows, data trends, or complex processes, Sankey diagrams are a powerful way to showcase relationships and proportions in your data. In this video, I will guide you through the process of building a professional Sankey diagram using RAWGraphs, which is a free and open source tool. I will then show you how to seamlessly integrate it into PowerPoint presentations. First, a quick history detour. The Sankey diagram originates from Captain Matthew Henry Phineas Ryle Sankey, an Irish engineer who first used it in 1898 to visualize the energy efficiency of a steam engine. In his famous diagram published in a civil engineering journal, Sankey illustrated the flow of energy with the width of arrows representing the amount of energy transferred or lost in the process. This innovative visualization highlighted inefficiencies in the engine, thus making complex data easy to understand. Let's look at a Sankey chart in detail. In order for us to make a Sankey chart, we need our data to be in this format. So in these three columns, we have the first column, which is the source. Second is the target, and third is value. If you have watched my video about tree map chart or sunburst chart, link in the description, this format should look familiar to you. Here we are looking at how students move from high school into different degrees and then into various careers. The flows show the number of students taking each path. The wider the band, the more students. So as you'll notice here, the band for 600 is a lot thicker than 200 or 250. You can see most engineering grads head into tech jobs, while science grads split between research, teaching, and healthcare jobs. Arts graduates branch into business, creative, and teaching jobs. It's a quick way to see the most popular routes and where students' paths overlap. If you look at the table here, you will notice science degrees appear in the target column as well as in the source column. Same for arts and engineering. You might have this question, especially if you are preparing your own data set, is from this one table, how does RAWGraph knows to create a middle layer for science, engineering, and arts? Here is how it works. RAWGraphs treats every unique label in both the source and target columns as a node. Then it looks for any node that appears both as a target in one row and as a source in another row. If it finds any double appearances, RAWGraphs will place it in the middle layer. So on the left hand side, it will get connected upstream to its sources, and on the right hand side, it will get connected downstream to its targets. In our dataset, science degree appears as a target when coming from high school. Science degree also appears as a source when sending flows to research jobs, teaching jobs, and healthcare jobs. So you don't need to predefine the hierarchy. The relationship in the table will emerge automatically. This is by far the best feature of RAWGraphs. Now that we have gone over the basics, let's actually create one. So this here at the bottom is the URL to RAWGraphs. So I have loaded up RAWGraph using the link I showed earlier. This is a very simple interface. You can directly paste your data into this text box here, provided it is either tab separated, comma separated, delimited, or if you have JSON data, you can also paste it here. If your data is not in one of these formats, you will have to first prepare it in that format. The best way to prepare any of these formats is use Google Sheets or Excel. So I have this data here in the Google Sheets. I'm going to be covering 3 examples and I will leave the 4th one for you to try. So this is our first example. I'm going to copy this table, select all the cells, press Ctrl C or Command C on your keyboard, head over to RAWGraphs and just paste your data. You will see here that RAWGraphs read our data as TSV file, which is tab separated. I will also show you another way you can do the same thing. Let me reset it. Let's upload the data using this second button here. I have my 4 CSV files saved here. I'm looking for this first one, the education example. This is a CSV file. Let's click open and you will see we get the exactly same result. You don't need to worry about any of these other fields. Just knowing that this reset button will reset everything is good enough here. Next, it's time to choose our chart type. And you will see here we have a long list of charts to choose from. We are specifically looking for Sankey diagram, which is right here. If you have a hard time finding it, just press Ctrl F, then type in first few letters of Sankey and you should be able to find it. So let's click this chart. Then for the third step, we need to map the data with these three placeholders. So source should go into source node, target should go into target, and value should go under size. You will see that it has generated this Sankey chart for us. If you are happy with the format, there is nothing more you need to do. You can just straight away go to the export option. But let's see what customization options we get here on the left hand side. So the first is width and height. So how big you want your chart to be. But since we are going to export this as an SVG and then import it into PowerPoint, the size shouldn't really matter for us. So we can leave this alone. Background is where you can specify this background color. Then we have margins, how much room you want to leave on all four sides of this chart area. Let's open the chart properties. The first one is the node width. So how thick do you want this black line to be? If I were to change this to say 50, you'll see it becomes quite thick. I think 5 is a good value. Then you can specify minimum vertical padding. So how much room do you want to leave in between these lines will be controlled by this. So if I were to change this to say 10, you will see this distance has increased. If I change this to say 30, it has spaced these out even more, but at the same time, the thickness of all our lines has gone down. So I'm happy with the original value of 5. The next is the opacity. If you change this to 0, you will see that everything has turned to white. If we change this to say 0.5, it looks translucent. I think 1 is fine for us. Next is circular links gap. You can ignore this because it doesn't apply for us here. Next is the blend mode. Right now you will see that there is this transparency going on whenever we have an overlap. If we change this to normal, this transparency goes away. We can keep this to multiply. When we export this as SVG, the transparency is anyways going to go away, so this doesn't really matter. But if you were to export this as a PNG, the transparency would be retained. So you can take a call based on the format you will be using. This one is the alignment of your nodes. This will not have any effect on our chart. So let's keep this as is. The last one is the iteration. This one will have an impact. So let's start with a value of 1 and see what happens. You will see the diagram has rearranged itself. If we increase this to 2, it looks slightly different. Let's keep increasing up to 6. Let's keep going. You will see after 7 or 8, higher values make no difference. So you might want to go with a value between 1 to 6. I'm happy with the value of 6. So I'm going to keep it. Next we have colors. So we get 3 color schemes by default. You can check these out. You can even change these colors by clicking on any of these options here. I wouldn't worry too much about these because we can always change these colors later in PowerPoint based on our brand colors or the color schemes that we have going on in PowerPoint. Lastly, we have labels. We just have one option here. If we check this, you will see the values now appear below our data labels. So it's up to you whether you want to keep this or not. I'm going to keep it. And now all that's left is to export this. So to export, we have 4 options. The most flexible option of these 4 is the SVG option because we can customize this further. So I'm just going to keep this and press download. Let's head over to PowerPoint, click on Insert, click on Pictures, click on this device, click on the SVG that we just exported, say Insert, click on Convert to Shape under Graphics Format. Let's remove this extra shape in the background. We need to ungroup this a couple of times. So right click on the chart, click on Group, then Ungroup. Let's also ungroup these text labels. So right click, Group, Ungroup. Let's increase the font size. I think about this much is fine. Let's select all of these, move them to the right hand side. I'm going to align them all to left. Let's adjust this formatting a little more. Let's recolor some of these text labels to a white font. I'm going to push this chart slightly to the left. Next, click on any of these shapes, ungroup them. And now we can individually format these flow lines. So one thing to note here is these are not shapes but outlines. So if you try to change the color by clicking on shape fill, nothing will happen. You will have to change the colors and formatting using shape outline option. So let's say if I want to change this to this yellow, I can do that using shape outline. To get more formatting options, you can right click, then click on format shape. And this is where you can get additional formatting options for outlines. If you need a detailed tutorial of formatting shapes and outlines, watch my video regarding mastering shapes, link in the description. So that's essentially the process of creating Sankey charts and bringing them in PowerPoint. Let's do a couple of more examples. Let's do the website traffic flow. So I'm going to copy this data, then paste it over into RAWGraphs. Select Sankey diagram, map our variables with chart variables. Make any edits you want. So this time I'm going to pick a different color scheme, say this one. Let me increase the node width to say 10. Let's change the iteration to 1. Then click on download. Let's head over to PowerPoint, click on insert, pictures, this device, select your SVG, insert, ungroup this, do that a couple of more times, and now you can freely edit them using the colors you want. If you want to see this orange flow behind this yellow flow, you can make this yellow outline transparent. So select this yellow outline. On the right hand side, under fill and line, increase the transparency to say 20% or so. And that will allow you to see outlines that are below other outlines. Let's make one more. First, reset this existing example. Select this table for the third example. Paste it. Select Sankey diagram. Place your variables in the right placeholders. Let's increase the padding to 10. Let's change the alignment this time to right and iteration to 2. This time I'm going to pick this last color scheme and then download. Head over to PowerPoint, insert the image that we just downloaded, ungroup this. Let's get rid of this extra shape in the background, make formatting changes. So this time I also added a gradient to my outlines to get a unique look like this. So the benefit of bringing these diagrams into PowerPoint is you have complete control over formatting. Before we wrap this up, I have sample data for you on the last slide. So feel free to download this file and practice this chart with this data. And there you have it. With just a few clicks, you have turned complex data into a clear, visually compelling story. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what other data visualization tools you would like me to cover next. Thanks for watching and see you next time.